everyone, I'm Vishen Lakiani and welcome to a special class on how to access altered states of mind for powerful guidance and problem solving. So I don't know how you found this class, but I know why you're here. And if you're here to learn how to tap into alpha, theta, and delta brainwave frequencies of the human mind, your mind, to get into states of profound creativity, intuitive guidance, and even to create coincidences or synchronicities in life so life becomes easier. I'm excited about this topic because I've been investigating this topic for about 20 years. And never has this topic been so important as right now, as we are in this state of quarantine. So in this current reality, there are two choices that we face. We can choose to merely seek to survive, or we can choose to thrive. And I want you to thrive because I know that with the right mindset, with the right tools, with the right abilities that we unlock within us, we can use the unique position we're in right now, where we have a lot more time for solitude, a lot more time to be with ourselves, to train ourselves and to emerge with newfound abilities, learnings, wisdom, and ideas. Right now in our world, we have never been more isolated and alone than ever. Many of us are stuck in an apartment by ourselves. If you have a roommate or if you have a partner or kids, you're probably a little bit more lucky. But there's this feeling of isolation with not being able to go to work. There's this feeling of unpredictability as we see bad news every day, as we see job losses mounting. How do we best survive and thrive in this era? Well, here's the main idea, right? And you're not alone because of this. Napoleon Hill, the famous writer of Think and Grow Rich, once said, "A genius is a man who has discovered how to increase the intensity of thought to a point where he can freely communicate with sources of knowledge not available through the ordinary rate of thought." And there's something really profound in what Napoleon Hill is talking about. Back when Napoleon Hill wrote that book, he referred to this as vibes, right? He called it vibes. In later editions of the book, they added out the word vibes because they felt it was too odd for the market of that time. But today we know what he was talking about. He was talking about accessing altered states of mind. And why do altered states matter? Well, when you are able to access the right state of mind, you're able to get intuitive guidance. You're able to remove blockers. Have you ever noticed some people who seem to have all the luck? Well, I'm going to come to this later, but I believe what they're effectively doing is influencing probability. And there's an altered state associated with that. Next, delta. Delta is one of the most interesting altered states. This is where you're able to get guidance from a higher power. This is where you truly are never alone in life again. And wouldn't that be amazing to be able to access, especially in this era? So altered states are an important tool, but most of us have never been trained to use it. So recently, I was on a Zoom call with some 900 of you. It was a live call, and I put up a poll on Zoom, and I said, how are you guys feeling right now? What are your biggest fears, worries, anxieties? What can we help you with? Now, here's what's interesting. 29% of you said abundance, right? And I don't blame you because we see the economy going down. We see jobs being taken away. So abundance, being able to just pay the rent might be a worry for some of you. But what was interesting was this, 29% of you, equal to abundance, said that what you're experiencing is a lack of focus, procrastination. You don't know how to move. You can't seem to move. You don't know what to do next. You're going to learn how to overcome both of these. In this class today, directly, you're going to learn specific tools that you can use to magnify your abundance to things that you've never even dreamed possible. And you're going to learn how to get super focused, how to get motivated so procrastination and overwhelm are no longer an issue, and how to literally, in a way, bend reality and gain guidance so you always know the right, most correct action to take. And you can move in the direction of your wildest dreams. So before we begin, a little bit about me, my research, and why I think that this is going to be truly profound for you. So many of you know me. My name is Vishen Lakiani. I'm the founder of Mindvalley, and Mindvalley is one of the most innovative companies in personal growth today. We work with pretty much every big name author, and we have 14 million fans around the world who follow us all across social media. And we've had 12 million students enroll in our programs. And as someone joining us in a masterclass here, welcome to this 12 million if you're new. Now, many of you who've known me for years, because I've been doing this since 2003, are well aware of my life story and what I've been doing. But for those of you who are new, I want to give you a quick recap so you understand where this passion is coming from. My book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, is a book that explores how to truly shift your mindset to live an extraordinary life. And what's interesting about this book is the book became the #1 book in the world in 2017. And for a couple of days on Amazon, 5 days precisely, it hit #1. And the book also made me the #2 author in the world. I grabbed this screenshot just before it dropped back down, but I was really delighted and honored that you guys, my fans, took such a massive interest in this book. It's now been translated into 25 languages. The book also became the #1 book in every category of self-help. In fact, since it was the #1 book on Amazon, it was the #1 book practically everywhere in every category. But it was the #1 book in meditation, religion and spirituality, self-help, business and money. Because when you apply what I'm about to teach you, every area of your life starts to expand. But why was this book so popular? Well, in this book, I spoke about a concept called active versus passive meditation. So many of you think you know meditation. And if you're meditating every single day, that is an incredible practice. But what many people don't realize is that there's a whole different level of meditation that is called active meditation, or as I like to call it, meditation for performance. This is where it's not about quieting your mind. It's not about just focusing on your breath or removing thoughts. It's about actually embracing every thought that comes in your mind, worries, fears, goals, desires, but channeling those thoughts and then shifting the fabric of reality to make that so. Now, meditation for performance or active meditation is the essence of what we're going to be talking about, and it becomes possible when you enter these altered states. So these ideas are catching on, and I want you to know that if you feel a little bit weird right now because you told a friend or something that you're going to be attending a masterclass on accessing altered states for intuition, for shifting the fabric of reality, and they thought, oh, that's woo-woo stuff, they're wrong, and you're right. So congratulations for being here. I've literally spoken about these ideas openly to audiences at many massive companies, and I can tell you that it's catching on in a deep way. So many CEOs, scientists are talking about this, but they don't talk about it in public. They talk about it in closed doors. I am one of the people seeking to make this more public. So started teaching this in classes. This class that you're seeing is a Silver Ultramind class. That's the program that I just launched in Mindvalley. 500 people are in the audience. And recently, that this is going mainstream. And this is becoming the secret juice for so many top performers in the world. And you are going to learn how to get started immediately before we're done today. You will have actionable results. You will have actionable to-dos so that you can move forward. Now, how did I get started in this? This is me in New York in 2003. I'm a lot chubbier than I was. I was a lot chubbier back then. I wasn't in the best health. And what had actually happened is that a year before, I was in Silicon Valley. I'd moved to Silicon Valley in 2001 with big dreams. I borrowed $30,000 from my dad to start a company. But my timing, in a word, just really, really, really sucked. And the dot-com bubble burst shortly after I moved to the Bay Area. I remember April 2001, I lost that business I was starting. I lost the 30 grand that my dad had lent me. That same month, 14,000 people lost their jobs. And I was one of them. I had nothing, no place to work, and I had no money. I had a beat-up Honda Accord and only enough rent to rent a two-seater sofa from a college student in Berkeley. It was humiliating. Everything, my entire life was on this two-seater sofa, so short that my legs kind of hung off when I slept at night. And so during this time, I started zapping off my resume to every company that was hiring. And everyone was saying, no, 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 because just like today, the economy had tanked. So many people had lost their jobs. Companies were not hiring. And finally, after resume blasting, I think I was sending out like 100 applications a day or something. A company got back to me and said, hey, look, we think you could do this job, but there's no base salary. It's basically technology sales. Now, I was an engineer. I knew nothing about sales, but I was hungry and I was desperate. I was sick of sleeping on a couch. And worse, I couldn't afford car insurance and I couldn't fix an issue with the brake in my car. And what had happened was I had crashed my car and I owed $6,000 to the insurance company of the other car I had hit. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but this was a low point of my life. And so I was desperate and I decided to take this job with this company for no base salary. Now, of course, I was an engineer and what I was told to do was sell, which I knew nothing about. And worse, I had to sell technology to lawyers, which means this. I had to interrupt a lawyer, my territory was Texas, in the middle of a workday, convince him to hear my pitch to sell him technology. And if you've ever tried interrupting a busy lawyer as on the phone to sell him something in the middle of a workday, you are going to hear more cuss words than you ever want to hear in a given day. And I think one particular day, when the 13th lawyer had told me to essentially like F off, I sank into a depression. And I think I started asking myself, like, is this it? What am I going to do? I was genuinely afraid. My girlfriend at that time, I wanted to propose to her, didn't have money. I was afraid I might lose her. I didn't have enough money for rent, mind you. I was still sleeping on my friend's couch. And I had a beat up car that I was embarrassed to be seen driving in. Now, I got on Google that night and I can't remember what I searched for. Maybe it was, now back then Google had just launched, so it was like this magical search engine. Maybe I put in, why does life suck so bad? Or maybe I put in, Google, please help me. I can't remember what I put in, but I found a particular class in LA. Now I wrote about this class in my book. I wrote this story in my book, but I never shared the name of the class. That's what I'm going to share now. And I'm going to go into the specifics of what I learned. But I came across this class and it claimed that it would teach you how to meditate, bring out intuition. And in the webpage, it mentioned that there were huge applications here for people in sales. And in fact, the teacher of the class was a pharmaceutical saleswoman who wrote on the webpage that this class had transformed her. She'd come out of a divorce that helped her rebound in life, that helped her become a top sales professional. And I thought, well, what could I lose? So I flew from San Fran to LA. I took the class, and then after I was done, it was like a weekend event, I flew back to San Fran to start my job on a Monday. Now in sales, being an engineer, I was very data-driven. Every day, I would measure the number of leads, the phone calls, the number of assistants whom I would be able to wrangle my way through to talk to their attorney boss, the number of people who told me to F off versus the number of people who were willing to listen to me and take me to the next step. All of this was being tracked. And I decided to try one of the techniques I learned. Okay, now, back then, we used the Yellow Pages. I had to go to the San Francisco Public Library, check out the Yellow Pages. My territory was cities like San Antonio, Texas, and then I had to call every lawyer from A to Z. But this time I tried something different. I simply held my hand on the Yellow Pages, let my hands move down, and I would get an impulse on who to call. And I only called the lawyers where I felt this intuitive impulse. Overnight, my sales doubled. I was tracking everything. Boom, it went up. And I was a little bit skeptical. I'm like, okay, maybe it's going to go down, but I continued the technique and it stayed at that level. The next week, I tried a different technique from the same class, something called a mental screen. I'm going to teach you that in a moment. And again, my sales went up. Then I tried another technique, the 3 scenes technique. And again, my sales came up. I'm going to teach you that too. And before I knew it, 4 months had elapsed. I'd been promoted 3 times. And the company sent me to New York to start their New York office. That's where I am in that picture. I was 26 years old, and I was now leading this incredible office in New York City. Now, the class I took is called the Silva Ultramind System. And it is a remarkable program. And it is truly transformative. And this is what we're going to be talking about. And so that's how the Silva Ultramind System started. Now, as you know, I started teaching this class. I became an instructor for 5 years. I was teaching classes across the world, London, New York. And what happened is Silver Ultramind ended up being so powerful that it didn't allow me to stay just being an instructor. In 2005, this was what my office looked like. So at that point, I was not just teaching the class, I built the Silver Ultramind website, and I was helping other instructors get students in their class, and I was helping the Silver organization sell CDs. But because the system was so powerful, I would get insights and downloads and majestic luck, and very rapidly that evolved into the company that is now Mindvalley. Over 300 people and possibly the world's most innovative personal growth companies. I want to show you something really crazy. That was the office we started in, right? So I started out in my bedroom in Starbucks, working from there. Then I set up this office because I had no money. And this is what our office looks like now. In fact, our office made Inc. magazine top 10 most beautiful office in the world. But here's the thing. It was in my mind. It was being visualized before we made it to Inc. magazine. Everything about Mindvalley emerged, and Silva Method gave me the rocket fuel to bring these dreams true to reality. So remember that survey result I shared at the beginning? 29% of you said you want more abundance in your life. 29% of you said you wanted to get out of this feeling of lack of focus. You want to stop procrastinating. When you learn these tools, both of these start happening. Abundance flows easily. But the thing is, abundance is flowing because you have such clarity of purpose, of mission, because you're listening to your intuitive soul. And procrastination and lack of focus is no longer an issue. They cannot even touch you because you become a woman or a man driven by true purpose. Now, a quick survey, okay? Before we talk about where you're going to be, let's see where you are right now. Now, there are eight primary outcomes that happen when you take the Silva method. And I want to ask you guys to self-assess yourself on these 8 things from a scale of 1 to 10. 10 means you are there, you are world-class in this level. 1 means you are really not there at all. In fact, this doesn't even exist in your life. 5 or 6 means you're kind of average. Okay, now, don't worry about where you are. No one is seeing this except you. Take out a pen, take out a paper, and write down number 1. Okay, I'm going to give you number 1 in a moment, and give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Now, the first impulse that comes is typically the correct one. That's listening to your intuition. The first thing is developing intuition. Can you tap into your subconscious mind's limitless intelligence and harness it to make better decisions? Now, if you were a 10, this is what it means. You can instantly download ideas. You can write books. You have a voice guiding you. I've been in situations where I was operating like a 10, right? When I wrote my first book, Code of the Extraordinary Mind, there were a lot of aspects of this book that were downloaded. That was one of the reasons why I think this book resonated with so many people and got translated to 25 languages and hit number 1 in the world. But part of it came because I was able to download that. Now, remember, it's not like you hit a 10 and you stay there. Depending on what's going on in your life, you may go a little bit lower. In other words, you go up and down and up and down. The goal is to stay at an 8 or 9 or 10 as long as possible. But we're talking about where you are now, where you are this month. Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Okay, ready for the next one? Multiply your manifesting power. How fast are your thoughts becoming reality? Again, rate yourself from 1 to 10. 3, career growth. Rate yourself from 1 to 10. So here's what career growth means. After I brought Silva into my life at that company in Silicon Valley and I was hitting my sales targets, I got so good at what I was doing. I not only became VP of sales, they made me VP of business development. I held 2 vice president positions in a company of 200 people because I was hyper productive, because I knew what to say. I knew how to think. I could move things easily with the techniques that I was learning in the program. Some of those techniques you're about to learn now. So give yourself a score on career growth 1 to 10. Is your career growing as fast as you want it to? Now, number 4, creativity. How creative are you in terms of your ability to source inspiration, ideas? This is where you gain the ability to flow when you write a book or write music or come up with an idea for a new technology. Number 5, being totally grounded. Balance, confidence, being self-assured. Again, 1 to 10. Number 6, discovering and honoring your purpose. Are you in line with your purpose? Do you love what you do? And does it flow easily because you're aligned with the reason your soul put you here? Healing. How fast can you heal? Now, if you're really a 10 over here, not only are you healing, but when you hit that level of 9 and 10, what I observe is that you start almost reverse aging. right? You start getting younger and younger and younger. So when I started going deep into this, I noticed crazy things started happening. Can't even talk about some of them, but I'll give you one example. Okay, if you're a guy, when you hit 40, many men worry about hair loss. Same thing happened to me. My hair started growing back at a certain point when I started applying some of these techniques to my health. Can't say it happens to everyone, but reverse aging is a very, very, very common thing that you start seeing. Achieving total self-awareness. What this means is you're totally attuned with yourself. You know where you need to grow, what's holding you back. You are in tune with the thoughts in your head. In personal growth, we call it self-awareness. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. Again, give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Okay, great. Hold on to that. This becomes a roadmap for where you're going to go. Because when you know where you are, you know where you need to go next in your life. But now, let me introduce you to the man who created this system. Jose Silva had a remarkable life. Now, he was a radio engineer who got really into hypnotherapy and psychology. Because Jose, as you can see, that's him in his later years, and he was part of the U.S. Army. He lived in Laredo, Texas, a little border town in the Texas-Mexico border. And Jose was fascinated when he was in the Army with the questions posed to him by an Army psychologist. That got him to go deep into psychology. Now, having a radio repair business, and then reading about psychology, and then going into hypnotherapy caused him to ask himself an interesting question. He knew that in a wire, when you reduce the resistance in a wire, more electricity flows through. He wondered, is there a form of resistance in the human mind? And what happens if we reduce this resistance? Now, Jose had 10 kids, right? And he thought, well, could I make my kids do better in school? So he dabbled in hypnotherapy, an early form of meditation. Back then, they didn't use that word. They call it biofeedback or relaxation. And he got his kids to relax, go into what was called the alpha level. That terminology was being used as early as the 1920s. And he noticed that his kids were able to receive information better, so they could study better, and they could output information better. Now, by the way, you can be at the alpha level with your eyes open, and once you practice. Now, something curious happened. Silva was experimenting with his daughter, Isabella, right? And I guess back then it was okay to experiment on your kids. And he opened up a history book and he started reading to Isabella things from the book. And then he would come to the end and he would ask her questions. Something curious happened. As he formed the question in his mind, before he could verbally articulate the question, Isabella answered. She was somehow receiving information from his mind. Jose Silva was stunned. He called up Duke University. Duke University had a powerful laboratory led by a famous doctor called J.B. Ryan that investigated psychic phenomenon. And he said, Dr. Ryan, I think I just trained my daughter to be psychic. And Ryan said, no, some people have that gift, but you cannot train someone to do it. Jose believed J.B. Ryan was wrong. And to prove his point, he went and he trained all his kids to do it. Then he trained the neighbors' kids. The neighbors came to him when they saw how much better his kids were doing in school. Then he started training the neighbors. And that's how the Silva method took off. Now, he started collaborating with scientists, famous scientists like William Broad of the San Antonio Mind Science Institute, because a lot of this was rooted in science. Remember, he was a radio engineer. Now, back then, the science of biofeedback was taking off. In fact, early articles on Silva appeared in the New York Times, and they spoke about biofeedback, right? But the technique got so popular, it just blew up because he would pull people in, stockbrokers, Wall Street types, with a promise on stress reduction. But within a few days, he was teaching them psychic potential. And this is what amazed people. Many personal growth legends like Wayne Dyer studied with Silva. And Silva became one of the most popular personal growth methodologies of the 70s and 80s. But here's the crazy thing, and I have to tell you this story. There was a point when the Silva method almost never happened. And this was a pivotal point in Jose's life. At a certain point, he was spending so much time studying his books on hypnotherapy, experimenting, that he wasn't paying attention to his business. And he had 10 kids to feed. And one day he said he was lying in bed studying his hypnotherapy books, and he said, oh God, I can't take this anymore. This is going nowhere. And he picked up a book and he swore that he would never pick up that book again, and he's going to dedicate his life to family and his radio repair business. He picked up the book and flung it across the room. That night he went to bed. And in the night, he had a dream. And in that dream, he saw a 4-digit number. Jose woke up that next morning and he was stunned because this dream was so vivid. Now, the first thing that entered his mind was, that 4-digit number must be the license plate of a car. I have to find that car. Now, It turned out it wasn't a car at all, but Jose went to a friend and he told his friend about the dream. And his friend said, all right, no problem. I'll keep my eyes open for this car. Oh, and by the way, I'm heading across the border to Mexico to buy some groceries. Would you like to come? Jose said, no problem. I'll come for the ride. So as they were driving down to Mexico, Jose was keeping his eyes open, looking at all the car license plate numbers. And remember, Mexico was just across the border, right? Just a few miles away. Now, while they were in a Mexican store, and Jose was picking up some goods and his friend was picking up some goods, he hears his friend tell him, Jose, come here now. And Jose rushes to the counter and his friend is holding up a lottery ticket. The friend said, look, this 4-digit lottery, this was right here in this store. Isn't this the number in your dream? And it was. Jose bought that ticket and he won $10,000. Now, $10,000 in the 1960s is like $50,000 today. That was a large sum of money. And that gave Jose the motivation and the fuel to continue his research. But it also made Jose wonder something, right? The coincidences were too many. The dream, that very day when he decided to give up his research, the friend who took him to the exact store in Mexico, the exact store where that one lottery ticket was available. There was only one of each ticket. The question is, are we truly alone? Are there forces out there that are watching over us, that are protecting us? And are you listening to this? Jose calls this higher intelligence. I believe today, from what I've seen, from my experiments with silver, that we are plugged into higher intelligence, but most of us never pick up the phone. Now, when I started getting involved in silver, I made an effort. Jose had passed away in 99. Now, I'm so sad I never got to meet him, but I made an effort to go and research many of the people who worked with him, and they had amazing stories. So you might remember a video that we shot on Mindvalley recently called Reality Architects, and we spoke about some remarkable people that were able to show that reality could perhaps be an illusion. The remarkable people in that video were all associated with silver. The first is this lady, Helen Hetzel. I interviewed her in 2009. She passed away in 2010, but she was known as the contest queen. Helen Hetzel would win every competition she took part in. The odds of that were 1,000,000,000,1. She won 7 trips to Paris, homes, boats, everything. And she would just open up the newspapers in this little town in Texas that she was in, take part in any contest, and she would win. It was uncanny. But you know what? Helen Hetzel was Jose's PR director. She was close to Jose, did PR for him. Then there's this guy. He was also in the video. In his 80s, became a photographer, an artist, a painter. He had artwork being sold for $10,000. 2 of them hang in my office. He became a photographer. His work was in a photo gallery. Then he started teaching himself music. He's now in his 90s. And last I spoke to him, he was teaching himself movie making and app production. Bert Goldman is his name. Bert Goldman was Jose Silva's top instructor. He trained with Jose Silva. And Bert and I even did a class together in 2009. That's how we connected. Then there's this lady, Christy Marie Sheldon. You might remember her if you're a Mindvalley fan. She's been our biggest author of all time. From 2014 when she came on to now, more people have enrolled in Christy Marie Sheldon's program than any other program on Mindvalley. But guess what? Christy Marie Sheldon, this famous energy healer, her gifts came to her, or she was awakened to her gifts, when a Silva Method book fell on her head. It literally fell on her head by accident. She picked up the book, she started reading it, and it opened her mind up to all of the possibilities. So you see, this is some seriously powerful stuff. And I haven't even mentioned myself and the impact the Silva Method had on me when I started with it. I wouldn't be here today. You wouldn't be here today. Mindvalley wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the work of Jose Silva. So I was so honored when recently in 2016, the Silva family came to me and they asked me to revive Jose's greatest work, the Silva Ultramind system. This was the program he came up with on his deathbed shortly before he died. And when he passed away, things obviously fell into disarray. It often happens when a founder of an organization moves on. And in 2016, Diana Silva, his daughter, came to me and asked me to revive this work. So we've been working on this for 4 years now, and it officially goes live in Mindvalley this week. And in this masterclass, you are going to get core lessons from this program, some powerful lessons that you can implement immediately. This masterclass is completely free because I want to do justice to Jose Silva's work by getting it out to 1 million people in the next 3 years. That's my target. So congratulations for being the first 10,000 or so who have enrolled in this class. But while I'm going to give you my best, I want to ask you to make a commitment, okay? What I'm going to show you, it's going to take you out of your comfort zone. But if you wish to really grow, to really transform, you have to step out of that comfort zone. So I want you to make an oath with me right now that you're going to take notes, you're going to pay attention, you're going to take action you're going to practice. Because for the first time, I'm going to teach you things that we typically do not provide to the public outside a silver class. And people spend thousands of dollars to study these classes. So, do I have your agreement? Mentally say, yes, I'm all in, Vision. Awesome. Now let's continue. Now, the first thing I want you to understand is the concept of altered states. Altered states is the idea that we can access different levels of mind. And we're going to talk about these levels of mind in a moment. But a curious thing about altered states is Silva was teaching it in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but it is only now becoming in vogue. Stephen Kotler wrote a famous book on it called Stealing Fire, and he said that the altered state industry is a $1 trillion industry. Everyone from CEOs to athletes to Marines are using altered states to give them an edge. Now, Daniel Goleman, in his famous book, Altered Traits, expanded on the topic, and he said that there are 4 ways to get to access altered states. The 4 ways are neurotraining, breathwork, pharmacology, and meditation. And the reason why so many CEOs, athletes, top performers are using this is because it truly gives you an advantage. One CEO I know, and you might recognize that name, John Butcher. He's the founder of Precious Moments. John has created billions upon billions worth of companies. And he is the founder of Lifebook, one of the personal growth programs in Mindvalley. But John said this to me once: any CEO who is not using altered states is at a competitive disadvantage. Okay, so we're going to come to how to use it in a moment, but there are 4 ways. Now, the first is neurotraining. I do a lot of neurotraining, and I've worked at some of the best neurotraining labs. Check out this video. This looks like a giant, what it looks like, space octopus. But yeah, that is a form of neurotraining. Now, this is another one, even more fascinating. This is 40 Years of Zen. This is a $15,000 program. I do it every 2 to 3 years. Powerful stuff. But I don't just do neurotraining. I also do pharmacology. This is peyote, ayahuasca. In these pictures, I journeyed to the Amazon rainforest to live with the Achuar tribe. They do something called ayahuasca, which I'm sure you've heard of. And ayahuasca is a plant medicine which opens you up to altered states. You see visions, you get downloads. And I do ayahuasca actually to get business ideas. I just did a powerful trip recently, and it was amazing, the insights, the downloads that I got. But the thing about plant medicine is that it's rough, right? You are puking, you are vomiting, you got to travel, you got to go through some extreme stuff. These journeys can take 7 days. We're trying out, but it's not something that if you have a project you need to do the next day, you can just take some ayahuasca. So what is the safest way to access altered states? Now, what Daniel Goleman says is it's meditation. And what I say is yes, but no. Meditation, breath work, the way we traditionally think about it are great, are phenomenal. But what I'm interested in is the specific type of accessing of altered states where there's a clear thing that you want to solve. It may be a healing. It may be a problem you want to make disappear. It may be intuitive guidance. And this is what Jose Silva's work shows us how to do. Now, this is one of the most powerful ways to access altered states for accurate problem solving, for shifting reality, for creating the life you want to create. And I want to ask you, what would you do if you had this ability? Now, this question is important. Jose Silva says, when we have a burning desire for something, we're more likely to learn it, to apply it, to understand it. I think I got really deep with Silva Ultramind in 2002 when I took the class because I had a burning desire, because I was broke. I owed a lot of money to the car insurance company. I had a girlfriend I wanted to marry, and I was afraid she would dump me because I was sleeping on a freaking couch. I had a burning desire, and I freaking hated my job. I needed to get out. And the Silva Ultramind, that class I took in 2002, changed my life. What is your burning desire? I want you to just close your eyes for a moment now and think, what would you change if you had these abilities? Because that change is going to come. Now, is this for everyone? I want to answer this question because I know some of you are thinking it, right? First question is, can I do this? Now, the thing is, yes and no. What I'm going to teach you is going to work for a lot of people. It won't work for everyone, right? But it's the stepping stone. With enough focus and with the right training, yes, I believe 99 out of 100 people can do this. Silva has trained 10 million people, and almost everyone has seen remarkable results. I myself have trained thousands upon thousands of people. And directly in the class itself, we are seeing incredible, inexplicable moments of intuition, of healing happening. Second thing is, can I have trust in ESP? Look, if you asked this question 10 years ago, you'd be correct. Maybe there is some hokery with certain psychics who claim they have mysterious powers and, have stalls in New York to prey on tourists. But the fact is, intuition is now real. We know it's real. Books have been published on it, such as Executive ESP by Dr. John Michalowski of the Newark College of Engineering. He showed that CEOs with intuition do better than CEOs who do not have intuition. ESP is now real. We know it's real. We know there's 1 billion to 1 chance that it isn't real. There are things that our mind can access that we cannot explain, and we know that everyone has it and you can train for it. The third is meditation confusion. Many people have tried meditation, and there's a study that shows that almost half the people who try meditation give it up because they are bored. Silva is not that at all. In Silva, you're never asked to clear your mind. Instead, you're asked to keep your mind active. Whatever thoughts enter your mind, if it's a problem, you solve the problem. If it's a dream, a fantasy, something you want to attain that you can't get out of your head, even better. Silva's going to teach you how to bring that into life. So the meditation confusion, the boredom of meditation doesn't touch you at all. And finally, length of time. We think, because of what we read, that you got to be meditating in an ashram for 20 years to gain these abilities. Not true. Not true at all. With the right approach, you can awaken these abilities remarkably fast. And the right approach, and the best approach I've seen, has been Ultramind. At the end of this masterclass, you will understand altered states and how to use them, and in what ways to shift your reality. So you ready to get started? These are the steps. There are 4 steps to it. Now, the first one is you need to know the different altered states. Second, you need to be able to access alpha. I'm going to teach you how to access the first state, which is the alpha level. Third, you're going to learn a practical tool in the alpha level that's going to be the basis for everything else. It's called the mental screen. And fourth, you're going to be utilizing the power of this mental screen to basically do things that you never even thought possible. So, are you guys ready to get started? Now, here's the first thing. I need you to know that the idea that practice makes perfect is a myth. Perfect practice makes perfect. What you're about to learn is very specific. It's very deliberate. In the Silva class, in the Silva program, right, you go through mental programming scripts. I'm reading out to you particular statements while you're in a deep level of mind that open you up to new abilities. Jose was so specific about these words. Instructors are not allowed to change them. And he was so specific because he tested this on millions of people, millions of results through his classes. And remember, he was also highly intuitive. So a lot of these words and the statements that he injects in this had a potent power within them. So perfect practice makes perfect. And what you're about to learn is a deliberate, powerful technique that is so specific it will change your life in a remarkably fast amount of time. Now, imagine, after this masterclass, you've learned these techniques to solve any real-life problem within just minutes a day by applying the tools that you learn here. Imagine what it'll be like if you can listen to your intuition to know the right direction to take in life, to be that person during business meetings in the office that's downloading beautiful insights and ideas, a person who can solve problems quickly, a person who's aligned with their purpose and power, a person who is calm because you know you are never alone. And you know that whatever challenges come your way, you have the tools to make them disappear. And that you can bring whatever visions you have in your life, whether it's in your goal book or your life book, to reality fast. That is what you're about to learn here. So, you guys ready to get started with step 1, knowing the states? So, we are going to begin here. Now, the most important thing over here is to understand the 4 states of mind. There is beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Now, most of us are in what is called the beta level of mind. The beta level of mind is the first state. This is the waking state. In cultures, in our Western culture, the modern world, we are often in the beta level of mind. Now, the beta level of mind is actually a measurable brain frequency. You can measure this. If you are hooked up to a device called an EEG machine, which any hospital has, you can see that your brain waves are beating at 14 to 21 cycles per second. Now, when you are meditating or relaxed, your brainwave slows down to 7 to 14 cycles per second. This is a restful state. This brainwave frequency is called alpha. What Jose Silva found is that when you can train your brainwaves to get to alpha, naturally you become more creative. You become more rested. Your body heals faster, but you got to train to go down to alpha. Now there's another level, and it's called theta. Theta is the level that you're in when you're in taking a nap, for example. It's a dreamy state. Often when you go to theta, you can't keep your head straight. You can't start nodding off. When you're in theta, you have dreams, like random ideas are coming in. But it's harder to control. But if you can train yourself to go to theta and be awake, this is where psychic insights come in. This is the realm of intuition. This is where extreme creativity comes in. So many great inventors, creators, artists have claimed that they got their ideas when they were in these dreamy-like states. From Mendeleev, who invented the periodic table through a dream, to Elias Howe, who invented the sewing machine through a dream, to Robbie Williams, the songwriter who claimed that the lyrics for his favorite song, Better Man, came to him in a dream when he saw himself speaking to John Lennon, who gave him the lyrics. Dreams are a powerful thing, and that is what's going on at this theta level. But there's a level beyond that, the delta level. And the delta level is what you go into when you're asleep. Now, interestingly, spiritual teachers across many different fields have said that when you're at delta, you're directly connected to higher intelligence. The problem is, you're asleep, so what can you do about it? Well, here's the cool thing. Silva is the only system I know that teaches you how to program yourself so that when you go to bed and you're at delta, you can take action and resolve problems with the aid of higher intelligence. It's a technique called the mental video technique, and this technique has changed my life. And if it wasn't for this technique, I would not be sitting here today. So again, you want to understand that you can go from beta to alpha, from alpha to theta, from theta to delta. And there are techniques that you use in all of these levels. Now, in most of the Silva class, we teach you, and you're going through programming, mental programming, at the alpha and theta level. I'll give you an idea of what mental programming means in a moment. But first, let you get a sense of the alpha and theta level. So what I'm playing right now is an alpha sound. You can hear this sound. If you could listen to your brain at the alpha level, that's what it sounds like. And this is a theta sound. Now, these sounds are playing gently as you go through a Silva program or in a Silva class. These sounds are playing gently in the background, right? I wanted to have you listen to these sounds so you understand the nuances between alpha and theta. What happens is Silva believed that your brain locks into these sounds and it helps induce the theta state. It helps induce the alpha state. But by being able to hear the sounds, you know the difference between alpha and theta and how much slower theta is. Now, this is key. This is the key part. You are already in alpha for the first 5 minutes of your morning, right? So if you think, oh gosh, am I in alpha? Don't worry about it. Whenever you're relaxed, you're in alpha. When you're meditating, you're in alpha. But when you wake up in the morning, you're in alpha for the first 5 minutes. And this is the basis of how you're going to train your mind to recognize that state and get there faster. Okay, so let's look at what we've covered so far in step 1. Alpha, theta, delta. These are the altered states you want to get into. Most of us are in beta, the waking frequency, but you want to explore these 3 altered states. Now let's go to step 2, training yourself to enter the states instantly. Silva calls this the 40-day technique. Now, if you've never taken a Silva class, or if you are not enrolled in a Silva program, this is the technique you use. It's slower, but it works. When I was 14 years old, my dad introduced me to a Silva book. And so my first experience with Silva happened when I was 14 years old, and I started meditating already at that age. And how I trained myself was using this technique. Now, let me show you what the technique looks like. If you have no money to take a Silva class, this is the technique that you can still use to get to the alpha level of mind reliably. As a 14-year-old, I didn't have the cash to sign up for a silver class. I couldn't even afford a book because I grew up in Malaysia. There was no Amazon during that time, and there was no internet for me to Google this information. So here's what I learned from Jose Silva, right? So this is what I learned from the book that my father bought me. For 10 days, every time I wake up, I was to sit in my bed in a comfortable position, not lying on my back, but sitting up, and I would count backwards from 100 to 1, slowly. Now, what would happen is it would take me about 5, 6, 8 minutes to get there. But when I got to 1, I would be at alpha. And then there, I would practice step 3, which you're going to learn, the mental screen. But let's not get ahead of ourselves first. The idea is to get to alpha fast. Now, after doing that for 10 days, for the next 10 days, you only have to count from 50 to 1. Your brain attunes itself and you're able to get to that level faster. Then for the next 10 days, day 21 to 30, you count from 20 to 1. And on the final 10 days, day 31 to 40, you only have to count from 10 to 1. So take a photo of that if you want. It's super simple, but this is how you train yourself to get to alpha. Now, what do you do when you reach that state? We're going to come to that next. And also keep in mind that this 40-day approach, it's a lengthy amount of time, right? I mean, if you are absolutely broke and you cannot enroll in a Mindvalley Silva program that accelerates the process, then this is how you do it. But there is a faster way, and we'll come to that. But the question for now is, what do I do when I reach these states? And this brings us to step 3. So far we've covered step 1, know the state, and step 2, accessing alpha. In 40 days, you can be trained so that you wake up in the morning and you simply count backwards 10, 9, 8, 7. Now, you're not doing it verbally. I'm doing it to demo to you. You're doing it in your mind. And when you hit 1, you're at alpha and you feel this relaxation in your body. But remember, you start at 100 to 1, slowly cutting it in half each time. Now, we come to step 3, the mental screen. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine there's a giant TV in front of you. Okay, now this TV, here are the rules. It should be 6 feet in front of you and it should be massive. It could be a giant TV. It could even be a cinema screen, but a giant screen in front of you. This is going to be your mental screen. Now, here's the trick. When you're looking at your mental screen, raise your eyes by 20 degrees. This is a diagram from one of Silva's books. Studies show when you raise your eyes 20 degrees, and don't get hung up on 20, 25, 30. You can't measure your eyeball, but the basic thing is looking slightly upwards induces alpha wave production. I want you to try it now. Close your eyes, look slightly upwards, and you suddenly feel a little bit more relaxed, right? So this is why the mental screen is 20 degrees above the line of horizon. Now, the mental screen, I want you to make it white. When we think of a television, we think of it as a black screen, right? But make your mental screen white. Now, on your mental screen, I want you to see a red apple. See that red apple against a white background. Now, when I snap my fingers, I want you to make that apple an orange. 1, 2, 3. See an orange. Now, I want you to see the face of someone you truly love. Make the orange disappear. 1, 2, 3. Now bring up the face of someone you truly love. A child, a partner. And imagine good thoughts going to them. But you're seeing it on the mental screen. Okay, at the count of 3, the face will disappear. 1, 2, 3. At a count of 3, you will be wide awake, attentive, listening to me. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you are back to this reality. So you've learned how to know the states, to access alpha, and to see the mental screen. Now, we're going to utilize the screen, and that is step 4. Okay, so at this point, this is what your day would look like. Every day, you're practicing the countdown exercise. And when you get to that level, the alpha level, at the count of 1, you see the mental screen. And now we come to using the screen. And we're going to teach you a technique called the 3 scenes technique. Jose Silva loved this technique. This technique was truly powerful. Now, this is how the basic technique works. You're going to see 3 scenes in front of you. Okay? The first scene is going to be directly in front of you. The second scene, you're going to take this TV or this giant screen and move it 15 degrees to the left. And the third screen, another 15 degrees to the left. So the screens are moving from center to basically, if you're facing me right now, but it's moving to your left. Okay? Now, the first scene is where you're going to see and feel the pain of what you do not want. The second scene, you're going to see some symbolism of a real action taking place to resolve the situation. And the third scene is when you see the end result. So what do you use this for? You use this to remove obstacles, any type of obstacle in your life. Maybe you have a pain, maybe a skin problem and you want to heal it. You use this technique. Maybe you have a situation at work, a coworker that you don't click with, and you want this person to just treat you with respect. You use this technique. Maybe you want to practice energy healing on someone else. You use this technique. Maybe you are really stressed out and there's a project due and you want to get it done really well. You use this technique. This is a powerful freaking technique. It could also be used to see your dreams. Maybe you are stuck in a house right now that just doesn't inspire you. You feel claustrophobic, it's small, and you have an idea for your dream home or your dream apartment. You use this technique. Now let's go deeper, okay? So in the first scene, you're going to see the present. Now at this point, I want you to pick something about your life that you want to change. Pick anything about your life. So I injured my back recently. I was lifting some heavy objects around the apartment, and I used this technique to heal my back. So in my case, what I saw in the first scene was I saw my back in a really bad shape. I sprained my back muscle. I felt the pain of that. But then what you want to do is you want to exaggerate the pain, right? Pain creates motivation for change. So I saw myself like walking around with my back in agony, unable to play with my 6-year-old daughter, unable to sit up and work on my projects because even sitting on a chair like this was uncomfortable. But I did this technique for 3 days. My back completely healed, by the way. But every day when I did it, I took into account the changes from the day before. So the pain got less and less and less. So that's what happens in the first scene. But it's not just the first scene. You're not just focused on the pain. That's just for a minute or two. Then you move the scene to your left. And on the second scene, you're going to see action. Remember, you are seeing the near future. And you're seeing yourself taking some baby step to correct the problem. So in the second scene, I saw myself visiting my physiotherapist, him helping me. I saw myself doing little back exercises to improve my back. I saw myself taking better care of my health, having better lifting posture, for example. All of that on the second scene. Now, the important thing is this. You don't have to know exactly what to do. I don't have to know, oh, I need to see a physio, or oh, I need this medicine. You just have to see yourself taking some action. I believe that seeing some action is a way of telling the universe that you are committed to resolving this. So I want you at this point to pick a problem. So let's go back to scene 1. I want you to think about a problem in your life you want to change. And we're going to do this exercise really fast. Okay? So I'm going to give you 90 seconds. Think of the problem and feel the pain. What is it about your life that you really want to change right now? Is it your level of wealth and abundance? Is it that you're feeling lonely? Is it that you feel that there's so much potential that is untapped for you right now? Feel the pain. And here's a tip. When you feel the pain, bring in colors, bring in emotion. See the space you're in. See how the pain is affecting other people. If you're suffering from a lack of money, it's going to affect your family too. It's going to affect your enjoyment of life. It's going to affect your health. It's going to affect your happiness levels. If you're lonely, well, loneliness is going to affect, again, your longevity. It's going to affect your health. It's going to affect your stress levels. So see the pain. Feel the pain. Exaggerate it. Okay? Now, we're going to move to scene 2. You're going to move the screen slightly to the left. And now you're going to see the near future. See yourself taking some baby step to resolve this pain. What would that baby step be? If you have an injury, you might see yourself taking a baby step, seeing a doctor, working on something towards that injury. If it's abundance, that baby step might be you coming up with some new ideas for business, for excelling at your career, for getting that next raise or promotion. It might be you learning a new skill, training yourself, taking a Mindvalley program, dedicating yourself to personal growth. If it's loneliness, it might be a commitment to learn to connect with people. to change something about the way you show up in the world, to have more confidence, to go out and meet people? And again, you don't have to know what the baby step is. When I was first using this technique, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. The baby step I saw was finding and registering a domain name. That was it. But that showed intention to the universe. But now we come to the third scene. This is where the magic is. You're going to move the scene again to your left. And in the third scene, you're going to see a future outcome. This is where you're going to see the end result. You with that man or woman of your dreams. You with that flow of abundance. You in that career that you've always wanted. You in radiant health. You're going to feel the situation fully resolved. And Jose Silva said this. In his research, he found that you don't just want to see yourself celebrating. You want to see other people benefiting. For example, if the situation of your back, right? If your back is healed, you might be able to carry your kid on your back. So other people are benefiting. So now I want you to see your third scene and see other people benefiting. See yourself benefiting. Now, if you're taking the program, you learn nuances here. You learn how to bring in emotion, how to bring in color. And you learn how to do this at a really deep alpha level of mind. And what Silva found is that the deeper you go, alpha then theta, when you do the 3 scenes technique, man, it's like amplifying the results. So right now you're doing it at the beta level. Some of you might be at alpha. Some of you might be at beta. It just depends on your regular style. If you're diligently taking down notes, you're at beta. That's okay. You're just learning here. But as you can see, it's simple. And you can do this in your meditation. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Healing. How do I use this for healing? This particular technique, the 3 scenes technique, okay, is really powerful for healing. And Dr. O. Carl Simonton is a famous cancer researcher. Now, he is famous for his research on cancer patients. He taught imagery therapy to cancer patients. In one of his famous studies, he used this on 159 patients with incurable cancer with an expected survival rate of 12 months. Now, what he found was that 4 years later, teaching them this technique, and they were told, these were people who were told they were going to die in 12 months. 4 years later, 63 were alive. 14 showed no signs of cancer. 12 had cancer regressing. 117 was stable. And the average survival time doubled to 24.4 months. Now, here's the cool part. Dr. Carl Simonton was using Silva. In fact, he spoke at a Silva International Convention, and he said about the Silva system, I would say it is the most powerful single tool that I have to offer patients. I believe Carl Simonton because I used Silva when I was 17 years old to heal bad skin. This exact technique, guys, it's amazing. And the skin, by the way, is one of the organs of the body most easy to heal with your mind. So really powerful stuff. So if you're using Silva for healing, this is what you do. Scene 1, you see and feel the pain, you feel the emotions and frustrations as normal. Scene 2, you see some symbolic or real action taken to create healing. You bring in your doctor or medicine. If you have medicine, say a pill, you see yourself taking the pill, but in that scene 2, you might add some imagination to it. You might see that pill going in your body and then radiating this powerful light, healing yourself. You might see little commandos coming out of the pill, little tiny commandos, and blasting the germs in your body. Make it funny because it doesn't matter what you imagine. You don't have to be a doctor. Your subconscious mind speaks in symbolism, right? So any symbolism you see in the advanced Silva class, and you'll get a chance to join that later if you want. If you're healing someone, you even learn to heal someone. For example, if that person has arthritis, you imagine a little brush dusting away a white powder from their bones. If they have a depression, you might imagine an eraser erasing away the dark clouds around their head. But you're actually commanding their body to heal. So that's how you do it in scene 2. Now in scene 3, you see the end result. You're radiantly healthy. I healed a sprained back. This happened 7 days ago. And I was in crazy amounts of pain. But the doctors told me it would take me 1 to 2 weeks. And the doctors, I always go to doctors. I always listen to doctors. I love and appreciate doctors. And doctors are such heroes in our world today. But by taking the doctor's advice and combining it with imagery therapy, with the 3 scenes technique, I was back to normal in 4 days. Really, really, really effectively back to normal. So these techniques are truly effective. Now, let's recap, okay? So far, we've covered know the states, accessing alpha, the mental screen, and utilizing the power here. The power of this technique is in its simplicity. This can be done in just 5 minutes a day. Do you agree? Now, of course, when you first start, if you are opting for the 40-day countdown mechanism, you're going to take 5 to 8 minutes to count down from 100 to 1. But that gets faster. By day 31, that's down to 10 to 1. But when you count down, pick something. If you have a 3 most important questions goal list or a life book goal list, pick a goal and practice the 3 scenes technique on that goal and observe how your life starts changing. Now, of course, how fast it changes and how fast you get the results and the effectiveness of what happens depends on other things. And that's where the advanced techniques come in play. Now, we don't have time to go through these advanced techniques, but what I want to do is give you a glimpse. But if you take the 2-day program on the Mindvalley platform, this 2-day seminar is spread out into around 30 days, 10 to 20 minutes a day. But at the end of 30 days, you have truly mastered all of this. And we go way beyond what you learned earlier, way beyond just the 3 scenes technique. I want to give you an idea of just how way beyond. The Washington Post wrote an article about Silva called Tripping Through the Twilight Zone. Amazing article. It's on our blog if you want to read it. But this is why they called it Tripping Through the Twilight Zone. The first thing that happens in Silva is you learn a concept called the centering exercise. By day 2 or 3 of the program, I'm guiding you through a centering exercise. And here, we are training you to reach alpha in 10 seconds. But we are training you to do it, not having to wait 40 days, but to do it by day 3 or 4. Okay, so you get straight to alpha, but then you go deeper to theta or delta, and you learn to be one of those meditators who can go all the way to theta, and rather than fall asleep, stay awake at that level, fully conscious, and use it for intuition and for shaping reality. Now, one of the ways Silva does is something called mental programming. So you are guided into process. You are guided into your center, which is your alpha brainwave level. Silva calls it your center. But while you're being guided into it, Silva applies a level of programming into you. This is a form of hypnotherapy that automatically awakens your manifesting ability, your psychic ability, but it also makes you a kinder, gentler human being. You will hear words such as, I'm now learning how to project my awareness across time and space, to perceive information, and so on and so on and so on. You will learn things such as, I will view all of humanity as brothers or sisters, fathers or mothers, sons or daughters. So all of these are in Silva's programming. It's so beautiful, and the way he does it, it transforms people at their core. You just have to sit back and relax. He's not speaking to you. He's speaking to your subconscious. Now, in the new program, I'm the one reading out these scripts. And I cannot wait for you guys to experience it. But that's what happens in the advanced protocol. But there's a second thing that happens in the advanced protocol, and that is the theta level of mind. This is where you learn to go into the theta level of mind and project across time and space. Now, what happens here is kind of strange. Have an open mind, please. You learn to project your awareness to a distant location, then into objects, and then into plant matter. Here you actually learn healing on plant life. But then you go to your pet and you learn to project your awareness to your pet to heal, to sense any abnormalities that might need correcting, and to provide an energy session to your pet. Now, in the class, at the end of day 1, I actually have students do something called psychometry. Let me show you what that is. You have someone pick up something. Let's say it's a watch, okay? So what happens is it literally looks like this. This is one of my students. That's Elise. So you can see she's holding an object in her hand. So her partner, and this is a guy that she just met because there are 500 people in the room. You're paired up spontaneously. Takes an object like a watch, wraps it in a piece of paper. Elise is trained to go to the theta level of mind, hold it in her hand, and give a reading. She will certainly get a sense of what the object is, even who the object might belong to. We've seen crazy things happen in this class. In one situation, the guy said, all I see is the number 8. The number 8, I don't get it, the number 8. He unwrapped the object. It was an 8-ball keychain. Another person said, I see myself flying through a blue sky and there are clouds going by me. He unwrapped the object. It was an airplane ticket. So you see, it's amazing how these things work. Now, this stuff is so powerful that many people don't even realize what they can do with this. This is not, folks, this is not about you going and like telling your friends, hey, give me an object, I'm going to give you a reading. No, the reason we do this in the class is to awaken you to what your mind is possible of. This is what really happens. So you might recognize that name, Richard Bach. Richard Bach wrote a book called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. The book was so popular, it made the cover of Time magazine. That is his book on the cover of Time magazine. But read what Richard Bach said about the Silva method. In an interview in Harper's Bazaar magazine, he said, it was the weirdest experience of my life. I was walking alone one night worrying about rent money when I heard a voice say Jonathan Livingston Seagull, but no one was there. I absolutely had no idea what it meant. When I went home, I suddenly had a visualization of a seagull flying along. And that was what sparked the idea for this book that became so popular, it made the cover of Time. But here's the thing. Richard praised the Silva method because after he wrote the book, he couldn't figure out how to finish the final chapter. It came to him in a Silva class. Now, this is an example of a channeled work, a work that just came out of nowhere and had incredible success, right? This book made the cover of Time magazine. And Richard, in his interview at Harper's Bazaar, credits Silva. My book became the #1 book in the world for 5 days in 2017. And I can tell you, I credit Silva. There are amazing things here that can happen when you can channel. And this is why we teach you advanced data level access. Now, there's a third thing, case working. Again, be prepared to have an open mind. If in day 1, we're teaching you psychometry, what on earth are we teaching you in day 2? Well, this is what happens in day 2. You go from projecting your awareness into plants and animals to projecting your awareness to detect abnormalities in other people, to detect things that need healing, and to actually heal. That is Jason Goldberg. He's a Mindvalley author and trainer. That's a picture of him in my Silva class. And amazing things happen when you're able to do this. Not only are you able to actually positively influence healing in another, and there are studies on this. Silva's friend, Dr. William Broad, proved this in trials of 700-something people, but the results on yourself can be amazing. Check out this case study we got from Jolan in Hungary. Aside from proudly wearing a tiny bikini again for the first time in 10 years, her vision went back to normal, right? So she actually restored her eyesight and stabilized her body weight at 60 kilograms. I won't have to read the entire thing, but you get the idea. Now, the advanced idea number 4 that happens is delta state access. Now, this is where the real magic is. You learn how to access the delta level of mind, to access higher intelligence while you're asleep. This stuff, guys, is amazing. So this technique is called the mental video technique. I don't have the permission to share this technique in this masterclass because the rights for this technique lie with the Silva family. But this technique is about tapping into the delta level frequency. But I do want to tell you my story of this technique. So I was at my job, vice president of sales of this company, and Silva got me there. But after 18 months, Silva helped me know that I needed to leave. I really felt the inklings. I felt I wanted to do something bigger. I felt I wanted to go into education. I felt I wanted to be a Silva instructor. But when I told my boss I was going to quit because I was such a top performer, he basically said, well, let me tell you what, Vishen, you're really valuable to me, so I'm going to raise your salary. And I was tempted. Man, I was tempted. He offered to move me back to San Francisco, and at that point, I really wanted to leave New York and move to San Fran, and the salary raise was so tempting. So I did the mental video technique. Now, the mental video technique is based on, it's a specific protocol. You do it 2 times in the morning, about 1 or 2 minutes each, then 3 minutes before you go to bed, and then you go to bed, and then when you wake up the next day, over the next 72 hours, you start seeing the situation resolve itself. And while you're in bed, Silva explains, you're communicating with higher intelligence and that outcome is being resolved. Now, Silva also says that after you do this technique, the answer will come to you within 72 hours and it'll be so clear you cannot ignore it. Now, what answer did I get? Well, I was thinking about staying with the company. Within 72 hours, my boss at that time, his founding partner, called me up and said, "Hey, I want to give you a heads up. This company's about to go under. I suggest you leave." I was like, and that was a real shocker. So I left and I became a Silva instructor and I ended up starting Mindvalley. So this is how powerful the mental video technique is. So imagine if I didn't have the ability to access tools like this, where would I be? I might have given up my dreams of being a Silva instructor. I might have been in that company. And if I had, I would never have started Mindvalley. I would never have been in this position. I would never be a New York Times bestselling author or have a company with 300 employees that's about to go public or have 12 million fans across the world. I would never be where I am today. And think about your life. How many times have you made a bad decision? All of us have. But what if you had a guiding factor, a compass that could prevent you from making these decisions and put you on the right path? Furthermore, what if you had a compass that already starting today would autocorrect you and get you onto the right paths for you? Where would your life be? And this is why this process is so remarkably powerful. So I want to ask you the following question, right? Would you, or how important is it to you to be able to learn to access information outside just your mind? Information from other sources. How important is it for you to then be able to have this information like a compass guide you in the right direction? So your life isn't random, but it's deliberate in the right direction. How important for you is it to be able to manifest things fast? Answer yes mentally if it is. How important for you is it to be able to access altered states like for alpha or theta instantly? How important for you is it to be able to use techniques like the mental video technique to get guidance from a higher power or higher intelligence while you sleep? And how important for you is it to learn with me and allow me to guide you through all of these advanced techniques in the next 1 month? And at the end of this next month, be a completely transformed human being. Now, if the answer is yes to any of those, I want to invite you to enroll in the Silva Ultramind system, which is the new program that Mindvalley produced 4 years in the making. And that's just us working with Silva. It's decades upon decades in the making. If you go back to the Jose Silva's work that was put into this, this is possibly the most powerful mind enhancement system on the planet. Rigorously proven through science, trusted worldwide for decades. Now, let me give you an idea of what you're going to learn in the Silva Ultramind system, because this is truly, truly remarkable. Well, the first thing is you're going to learn crystal clear intuition. Now, let me show you what this means, right? What this means is that you make the right choices with remarkable consistency. You have an uncanny ability to intuitively make the right choices and create your own luck and synchronicity. Uncertainty and second-guessing yourself are now a distant memory. Remember that artist I mentioned, Bert Goldman? He was a graduate of Silva and he endorsed it. And here's another person, Neil Botts, the famous conservative talk show radio host. He also said publicly, Silva changed his life. Nothing has been the same since. All has to do with making the right choices with remarkable consistency. Now, look at, this is the second thing. You learn to multiply your manifesting power. Beautifully align your thoughts and actions with your deepest desires so everything you want in life manifests more quickly, smoothly, and easily. And what this means is you rapidly turn goals into reality. Whether it's growing your income, learning a new skill, healing yourself, or manifesting a relationship, goals become reality fast. We got this letter from Barbara Silkstone. She's actually a best-selling author. And she said, Silva made me the tiger that I am. Now check out this one. Number 3, what you're going to learn in this program is career growth. You learn to apply altered states to skyrocket your career. And what this means is that you become a top performer at work and you get more done in less time. So you know what? When you take this program, you'll be asked to spend 10 to 15 minutes a day with me, sometimes 30 minutes a day. But you will make up for that because the amount of time it will save you in terms of productivity, because you're thinking clearer, things are just moving faster, synchronicities are happening, ideas are flowing. You make that 30 minutes back 2 or 3-fold in that week. So it is a truly remarkable process. And we've received so many remarkable letters from people across the world of all ages. This lady, Rola Diab, said, it's amazing how much you can do with your mind if you know what to do. J.K. Mangini, Divisional Vice President, Occupational Services, RCA Records, he brought Silva to his team members. This CEO, Robert Stiller of Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, he was Forbes Magazine 2000 Entrepreneur of the Year. He offered Silva a course to his employees because of how it helps with career growth. Now, number 4, you're going to learn to boost your creativity. And for many of you, this is an exciting prospect because you learn to tap into theta levels of mind. Now, what this means is you solve problems lightning fast. This guy endorses Silva. His name is Jack Canfield. And I just have to say this about Jack. Jack is a big fan of Silva. And Jack is the #1 best-selling author in the world. He has sold close to 200 million books. If his name sounds familiar, it's because he wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series. Over 200 million books sold. Now, you think he's solving a problem lightning fast? Yeah, this guy is a creative powerhouse. Then, number 5 is you become totally grounded. It means you're more balanced, you're more self-assured, fears disappear, and you have an intense inner peace, a beautiful inner peace, because you know that no matter what life throws at you, you got this. Nusrat Amin, who's a creative director of a fashion brand called Claire, said she's used the Silva method to calm herself in difficult situations, and she'd highly recommend it to all her family and friends. It's given her a different perspective that's peaceful and knows the little secrets of how life really works. Now, number 6, you discover and honor your purpose. You are living in alignment with your soul, and as a result, you grow in the direction of your higher purpose. Maybe there's something out there that you're meant to do. Maybe there's something you're meant to be. Maybe there are lives you're meant to change. Silva helps you get there. Dr. Clancy McKenzie, who's a professor and founder of the American Mental Health Association, endorses Silva. He said, utilizing the techniques, you'll be able to spend 1 minute prior to going to bed to formulate a question and 1 minute when you awaken to retrieve the answer, right? And this is how powerful these ideas are. So Clancy, being the brilliant mind that he is, he modified some of the techniques, but what he says here is a beautiful endorsement of Silva's ability to get you moving in the right direction of your soul. And then number 7 is healing. We spoke about this. You learn how to use your mind to accelerate healing. You heal and recover faster. And I shared with you the beautiful statement from Dr. O. Carl Simonton. And here's another famous doctor, Dr. Mark Robert Waldham. He wrote a famous book called God and the Brain. And he is an associate fellow at the Center for Spirituality and the Mind at the University of Pennsylvania, adjunct faculty, executive MBA program. And he said he has total confidence in the methods taught by Silva. And finally, what you learn is this: how to achieve total self-awareness, total mastery of your life. And this is something we should all aspire to. And when you do that, you become unshakably confident. Your constant connection to your true nature and purpose have left you with an unbreakable confidence in yourself, empowering you to be master and architect of your life. Apita Saha said this, or we received this letter. Apita is one of our students. It has empowered me with confidence and positivity. And there are hundreds more letters like this that you will find on our website, and we get more letters every day. And the program is available now on our Mindvalley Quest platform. So you can learn with me guiding you on your iPad, your smartphone, your Apple TV, your desktop, Chromecast. And you may be wondering, like, what is the enrollment fee? Well, let me show you something, which I think you're going to find really interesting. So before the whole quarantine thing came in, this week or next week, I can't remember the exact time, but sometime now, I was supposed to be conducting a seminar in Marina Del Rey at the Marina Del Rey Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Expensive hotel. It was a $4,000 seminar for CEOs and CHROs. And by the time they come and they stay at the Ritz-Carlton and they travel to Marina Del Rey, they would have spent $8,000. And look at what I was going to cover, right? How to develop superhuman focus and flow, how to tap into altered states, bending reality, and how to heal or reverse aging. Now, all of this were on the sales page. The sales page is still up. You can Google it. Try Googling Becoming Superhuman at Work. You'll see that you can't buy tickets. We had to cancel it because of quarantine. But people were paying $8,000 to learn this. This is a 2-day event. And the same content is in this program. It's just that you're not in a room networking with other CEOs and CHROs. Now, 8,000 is a lot, but I wanted to make it more affordable to people. When I conducted this class in Europe, and there are 500 people in the audience learning Silva Ultramind, the cost of getting there with hotel and accommodation and anything, well over 1,000 euros. So what's that? Like 1,200, 300 USD? Well, that too is going to be out of reach for many people. So what I'm going to do is drop the price to something ridiculously low to get as many of you people in as possible. Because when I start this class, I want to have 5,000 people learning with me. That is my target. That's what I've been visualizing with the 3 scenes technique. So if you scroll down below, you will see the price here. But I'm further going to drop the price if you order and enroll today. As a thank you for watching this masterclass, you have unlocked a special unlock price. Now, if you scroll down below this video, you will see the price. You will see a thank you for watching this masterclass, and everything that you need to make the right decision is there for you. So what you want to do is you'll see a little timer there. The price is valid while that timer is live. You'll see all the information in the program, the curriculum, everything you need. It's all right there, and you can go ahead and make a decision. And because I want to make this decision super easy for you, I'm also going to put in some remarkable bonuses. The first thing is that this program is going to be on an incredible platform. So what you're seeing over here is the online course after you purchase. So when you log in, you can see that there are warm-up exercises for you to go through, and then it starts week by week. I'm testing it out, which is why you see the missed lessons, but you won't see that. So this is an example of day 2, the centering exercise. Now pay attention to the filming quality, the teaching quality that we put in. Welcome to day 2. What you're going to experience today is one of the... Here in this lesson, I'm giving a briefing on the centering exercise, and notice the notes and everything are below the lesson. If you're impatient, you can speed up or slow down the lesson. And there is the audio centering exercise. And then there are also tasks to complete every single day. So this entire program is designed based on Mindvalley's learning experience design. So you know you are going to have the best experience. And I really can't wait to see how you like it. Now, there's also a resources section with the meditations, with tons of other tools that you can bring in. And everything is neatly laid out and available on your smartphone, your TV, Apple TV, your desktop, and everything else. Choose the start date for the class you want to start. And also, there's a community available. So everyone who goes to the program is connected in a community. This is a screenshot from the community. We are so careful about quality that we currently have 30 of our students on this community testing out the program before it goes live to everyone else. And they're giving me feedback, and I'm going to be getting in a Zoom call with them, and we're fine-tuning it to make sure this is going to be amazing by the time it gets to you. In fact, all of this has already been done. But that's just bonus number 1. There's a second bonus. Remember the alpha and theta beats? You're going to get these as tracks that you can play anytime when you need to enter these levels. Now, by the time you practice for 2 or 3 months, you won't even need these tracks. But if you want them, you can. Some people find these really useful, especially if they're in a noisy environment. You can just play it on your app and get into your level. Now remember, this is only for the broadcast. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, is this really for me? Yes, you're protected. If you scroll down the page, you'll notice this image. Don't decide now. Try it for a full 10 days completely risk-free. Now, what this means is that you can actually go and try this program out. I want to make this really, really, really easy for you. And the important thing here is that I'm asking you to make a fully informed decision. A fully informed decision means try the program by purchasing it and going into it knowing you're going to be safe. If you're looking at buying a house, you would never buy a house without actually going inside the house. I want you to go in the program and know that you're safe. Anytime within this 10 days, if you feel that this program isn't for you, just go to mindvalley.com/refund. That's it. mindvalley.com/refund and give yourself a refund. Here, I'm going to type it out on the page because it's so important, and it's so easy for all of you guys to do. You're just going to go to mindvalley.com/ let me make it a color so we can see it. There we go. So it's just mindvalley.com/ refund. You can see the page is live right now. Just go there and give yourself a refund. So you're perfectly safe. Make an informed decision. Check it out. See how it works for you. And remember, you can't make a decision unless you actually check it out. So go to the program. There's a lot you can do in 10 days and decide if this is right for you. And so I want to encourage you to join the program. Scroll down below. You'll see the banner with the timer. Scroll down to see the what you will learn list. Then scroll down to see the curriculum, the available bonuses. Then you'll see our guarantee, and you'll see other perks like lifetime upgrades, lifetime access, and then click the join the program button and you're all set. You'll get an email, and you'll also get a little invite to this page. It's your Quest welcome guide. This page explains to you how to use the beautiful platform this is on. I'm super deliberate about aesthetics and ensuring that this platform is just remarkably effective. And there you have it. Now, one more thing that's really interesting, right? You can choose to get just this program, or you can choose to sign up for Mindvalley All Access. There are a number of you here whom I think might be interested in getting access to all Mindvalley programs. So after you finish Silver, you can go on to the next program, or the next program, or the next program. You can choose to buy just the Silver Ultramind program and get the bonuses, or get everything in Mindvalley. If you want everything in Mindvalley, we make it super affordable. It's $5.95 a year. And because it's such a great deal, right? Because you go from one program to 40-something programs which are coming out in the next 12 months, all open for you. $5.95 a year. It is the best deal in education out there. In fact, it's probably, quite possibly, the best thing you can buy with your money, period, because it's your personal growth. So you have a chance to enroll in Mindvalley All Access, and it's something that is definitely worth looking at. So I cannot wait to see you in the program. As you can see, this is a remarkable opportunity for everyone. So now I'd love to answer some questions, because I know some of you might have pressing questions. So first question is this. You've tried to solve this problem before and you couldn't. You failed every time before this. Why should this time be different? Okay, this applies whether it's manifesting a dream or intuition. Well, most people, I mean, how many authors do you know who have 4 decades of research behind them, who is so pivotal in being a pioneer in personal growth, who has influenced lives like mine, or Christy Marie Sheldon, or Bert Goldman, or so many of these other teachers, right? So often we buy personal growth from people who, you know, are brilliant and wonderful, and decided to one day write a personal growth book. And there are thousands of these people on Instagram. But not all of them have had the level of research and quality of work and decades of proven results as Jose Silva. That's why this works. Number 2, could you even learn this given all the time and resources in the world? Some skills are harder to pick up than others, or basically easier, harder for some people. Yeah, I mean, true. There are certain things that you no matter, I mean, it's going to take a ton of time to learn, like if you want to drive a fighter jet, but there are also things that are built on unlocking abilities which are already within you. And this is already within you. It's just the right way of unlocking it. And that's what makes this really powerful. Recently, I observed that my 6-year-old girl was reading TV. She was reading like the covers of programs on Netflix. And I was awed, right? Because, you know, a few months ago, she couldn't read. And then all of a sudden, everything just clicks. The thing is, it was always within her. She just had a great teacher and a great system. And one day, it shifted in her. And now she's never going to be able to forget reading again. Once you learn it, it stays with you. But the right teacher, the right system brings it out. And just like our education system has spent hundreds of years mastering the art of teaching kids to read, Jose Silva has spent decades upon decades mastering the art of teaching people to unlock these abilities in their mind. Third question is it easy, or is this years of mastery? It's actually really easy. In the seminar, by day 1, people are doing psychometry. By day 2, people are doing distant healing and projecting their awareness across time and space. 2 days flat with the right protocol. This works. Remember, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. This is perfect practice. And the 4th question is, can I try this without committing? Yes, absolutely. Dive in, check out the program, go to mindvalley.com/refund if you need a refund. And finally, what if I get stuck? Good question. There's a community available to you. You can ask questions. There are facilitators there. No one is going to allow you to be stuck, especially because the Mindvalley tribe is so giving, so loving, so generous. There'll be people out there ready to hold your hand and help you through the program. And that said, I designed this program to be super easy to use, step by step. Every day, you're going to get 5 to 10 minutes of lesson stretched out over 30 days. Take the lesson, do the homework. You're going to be spending anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes a day, right? So budget that time. But this is going to be one of the greatest decisions you have ever made in your life. And the best part is this. After you make this decision, all the other decisions just get smarter and better because you're tapped into higher intelligence. So I cannot wait to see you in the program. Remember, all of this is only for this particular broadcast. And welcome to the Silver Ultramind system. Scroll down now, enroll, and I will see you in the program. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you for being a fan. And thank you for showing up for this. And give yourself a big round of applause for participating. Take care.